Hi guys, I am back to do another reading for you guys. I do apologize in advance if any light is flickering in the background or if my sound quality is not the best. I'm just in the process of moving, so everything is kind of all boxed away and figuring out my new location and spot. But yeah, guys, let's get into today's reading. So I wanted to kind of briefly talk a little bit about what's going on with the eclipse. I've been wanting to do a reading on this for a while now. So I'm really excited, and I kind of wanted to just briefly talk about what's happening right now with the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse started in October 25th, and it should end around November 7th to the 8th, depending on where you live in the world. But really what's going on is it's targeting the sun, moon, and Venus all in the sign of Scorpio. And that's going to be affecting the seventh house. So a lot of people right now, what's kind of coming up to the surface is a lot of insecurities around relationships and intimacy and connection with those around us, as well as power dynamics and what it is that a lot of the shadow of a lot of people are starting to kind of show. And a lot of people are having to process a lot of these dark, hidden emotions that's been a burden for a while. So a lot of stuff is kind of coming up in this month. It's going to be a very sensitive time for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to feel very vulnerable. They're going to feel very defensive. A lot of people might lash out more. You're going to notice that, as well as a lot of people are starting to, changes are kind of happening in people's lives. Like, for instance, for me, I had to move. I know like 2 or 3 people that are moving at this time. Car wrecks are happening. I've witnessed one person get on a head-on collision. So I'm just saying, I'm seeing things happening around, and I feel like for a lot of people, it's just emotions are very high right now due to this eclipse. And normally the eclipse will last 2 weeks or so after the eclipse is finally over. So we're still going to see the after effects of this eclipse for quite a while, you guys. And so one of the things that I'm noticing that's kind of a theme for this solar eclipse is people's values are changing, the way we reevaluate relationships and love. A lot of people are starting to notice the give and take dynamic in relationships, as well as people's north nodes and south nodes are becoming more activated at this time. So a lot of people are starting to get almost forced in a way to be pushed more into the direction of their destiny. So a lot of things are kind of coming up right now. Another thing as well that is kind of starting to show up for people is a lot of karma, whether this is positive or negative, depending on where you are on the spectrum, right? So some people are experiencing a lot of upheaval in their life at this time. Another thing that I think that this eclipse is starting to kind of really push people into is the self-mastery and self-empowerment, like the self-awareness that we have to have in oneself. And another thing as well is, because it's in the signs of Scorpio, of course it's going to be ruling sex, wealth, and even breakups or people's passing away, right? You might experience people that are more willing to commit suicide, unfortunately, or a lot of death and a lot of other people's resources being kind of shifted around at this time. So some people, unfortunately, will be losing loved ones, or tragic accidents could happen at this time. But it's just kind of getting people to break out of routines and getting people to kind of purge out these emotional burdens that we've been experiencing for a really long time. So a lot of people right now, they're going through a massive download. Even people that are not spiritually aware, they're going to start noticing that their emotions are bubbling up to the surface, that little things keep coming up that keep interfering with their life, that's stressing people out. Another thing as well is people's sun signs and their rising signs are going to be more activated at this time. So more people, you're going to notice that you might resonate more with your sun sign or your rising sign this month than maybe you would with your moon sign. So people are really starting to kind of break out of these constructive confined spaces that we put ourselves in. So as well as breaking illusions. So a lot of times it's easier to get caught up in the illusion of a relationship, and it's almost as though the solar eclipse is coming in to show you where reality really is and what isn't reality. So a lot of people's foundations are breaking down, as well as what they actually believed a relationship to be. That also might be breaking down as well. So this is a very intense time, especially because, again, Scorpio is a very deep sign. It's a very harsh sign. So a lot of people right now are experiencing a lot of upheavals and a lot of their own issues. So I kind of thought, because this eclipse is kind of forcing people to let go of bad habits or bad ways of thinking or just their own issues, of course, other things are going to be coming in to replace the negative or to replace what we've lost. But I thought this will be kind of a fun little reading just to kind of see what exactly in your life do you need to let go of and what exactly in your life may be coming in. But it's just going to give us kind of an overall view of maybe exactly how we're processing this eclipse. So do keep in mind this is a general reading, and not every little message is going to resonate for you, but take what resonates with you and leave the rest, because maybe that's a message for someone else and not for you. So we have two piles today. We have pile number 1 and we have pile number 2. Timestamps will be listed down below in the description box. If you guys need a second longer, go right ahead and pause the video. All right, pile number 1, those of you guys that chose the purple Buddha or this tarot deck, what exactly are you letting go of at this time of the solar eclipse? So I'm going to be shuffling the cards real quick. Give me just 1 second, you guys. If any of you guys are interested, check out my friend's shop, Light Minded. She has a whole new fall selection of candles, bath bombs, and soaps that are now currently available. All is made from handmade with love and care, as well as high quality ingredients. I highly recommend her products, you guys. They are wonderful, so check them out. The link will be listed down below in the description box. Thank you. Okay, pile number 1. What is happening for you guys in the time of the solar eclipse, or even leading out of the solar eclipse? So a lot has been going on for this pile. This is going to be definitely an intense reading for people. I'm going to just say pile number 1, because again, the solar eclipse's main focus point is money, friendships, love, like people we love, our very close, intimate relationships. I am getting that a lot of things have been kind of happening in your guys' life. Now, as I was shuffling, I did notice that the 3 of Cups went in the reverse, and this, the 9 of Swords was in the upright, but when I picked them up and when I put them down, they ended up reversing themselves. So I do get this feeling that maybe perhaps some things have definitely happened between, and this almost feels like a group of friends or like close family members. But pile number 1, there has been a tower moment in your guys' life. Now, what I am sensing with this tower moment is it also feels like something that is equating for you to ask yourself deeper questions. So I get this, for some of you guys, whatever this tower moment is, it's going to be different for everybody, but it almost feels like for some of you guys, this could even be having to make a quicker decision on something. There's definitely something here of needing to reevaluate parts of your life and who you are, or where exactly you're going in the direction. I feel like some of you guys are going in a certain direction in your life and you don't really know how to get there or where you're gonna go. So there seems to be some kind of fear associated with this tower moment. I feel like for some of you guys, you went through a difficult situation when it came to, this almost feels like something that, this feels like a physical thing with this tower moment. Something physical happened in your reality this feels like whether, again, like you had to move, or you had to, or maybe there was a death in the family, or there was an argument. There was something in the physical reality that made you start to question what direction you're going to go in your life. This is a deep contemplation moment for you guys. I get the sense that some of you, you're on this brink of making a decision right now, and it's almost like you're needing to take time out for yourself. I feel like some of you guys, you do need to go maybe isolate yourself for a little bit and really start to figure out what it is that you want. I think your whole life, you've done things for others, pile number one, and you're kind of coming to the realization that maybe you're not given the same respect or the same love that you give to others. So there's definitely something here about reevaluating a group of people, or evaluating, for some of you guys, this is even work. I get the feeling that this could even be a work situation, but there's kind of like you're in between two decisions. Should I go right or should I go left? And it feels like this has been a question that you've been asking yourself probably for a while now. I almost get that this pile, before the eclipse happened, that's when the Tower moment happened. And then everything else starts to kind of fall through. So it almost feels like whether this happened on the eclipse, the day of the eclipse, or like a little bit beforehand, if that makes sense. That's how I'm getting the Tower feeling. So some of you guys, you're really starting to question maybe perhaps the people around you. Some of you guys are not getting back what you deserve. So one of the things that I'm getting for this pile is something to do with overgiving or draining yourself. There's something about needing to take time out for your own health, especially for this month, you guys, because I get the feeling that this is going to be a very difficult situation for you, because it's almost like maybe you've been around people who were taking too much from you. So there's almost this time to need to step back and pull back your energy, because I feel like some of you guys may be overworking yourselves or over giving too much to a situation that isn't really pouring back into you. So some of the things that I found very interesting is that we have here the 12th house for the surrender. I feel like a lot of you guys at this point in time, you might even notice that you've been crying a lot more, or right, like for some of you guys, maybe you'll watch a commercial or something and then you'll cry, right? There's something about maybe needing to cry, but there is this overwhelm of release. The 12th house is all about the subconscious. It's all about the whole everything is as a whole. If you think about the zodiacs, right? As we go down the chart in astrology, first house is about self, second house is about what is important, values, possessions, or just assets, or things about like our character, and it starts to develop all the way to the very last house. And the very last house is almost about releasing everything we know about ourselves, releasing everything we know about the world at large, and almost falling in and embracing into the unknown. So the 12th house is almost about like transcending the physical, transcending self from other. And I think that at this time, maybe you guys are starting to really develop this sense of identity of like, okay, this is what I think I am, but am I really that? And it's almost like this really deep contemplation that I feel like you guys are going through at this time. And it's hard to even put into words, because perhaps for some of you guys, you can't put things into words. There's this unseen factor that's happening in your guys' life at this point in time. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, you might even be starting to, because I was about to say, because it also, the 12th house is about the Akashic records. We have here the third eye at the bottom of the deck here. And I almost feel like you guys, maybe you guys are starting to get third eye activations. You guys are starting to see little things. And I'm also getting, for some of you guys, like I said, this was in the reverse, but then it kind of came upright. So I'm wondering if you guys are starting to see people's true colors, like who's not meant for you and who is. There's definitely something here about reevaluating your situation. You guys are very sensitive at this time, and you guys are almost intuitively picking up other people's emotions. So it's causing you guys to kind of question, like, is this person really right for me, or is this situation really good for me? Because you might even notice certain negative qualities about other people. And I'm also getting even a little bit about yourself, because I am sensing that pile number one, you guys are kind of in this introspective mode right now, where you're really focusing on almost everything around you, your environment, and how people are making you feel. Because I get this sense, pile number one, that perhaps somebody could have attacked you or attacked your character not that long ago. And maybe that could have even been what that tower moment was. But there's definitely something here, pile number one, where almost like something got brought up to your attention. It's almost like something that was hidden for such a long time is getting brought up. Now leave it to an eclipse to actually bring things up, but the fact that it's all in Scorpio just makes it even more. It's almost like every skeleton in certain people's closets, or even in your own, is starting to become resurrected, right? We're starting to see the truth behind people and circumstances and situations, and it's really causing a lot of people to leave situations or to join situations. And I feel like for you guys, again, you're in that in-between state. You're kind of like, I don't really know where to go. Like, for instance, say if you have a friend that's been very physically negative and has maybe talked really badly about you, and you're aware of it now, you're like, should I leave this friend? Should I stay with this friend? There's a little bit of this like in-between hesitancy. Should I stay with this job? Should I go with a different job? There is this sense of the unknown. And with having the Aquarius here as well, with that innovative, I feel like some of you guys, you're going to start finding new people too, pile number one, because I get this feeling that random things are going to happen. Random things are going to happen in your life that's going to lead you down a path that you will not even see coming. Pile number one, I feel like you guys are going to become blindsided to a situation or to an event that ends up, I think, I'm going to be honest, serves you down the line. Because I get this sense that some of you guys, you are not aware of this heightened ability that you are feeling at this point in time. And so I feel like it's starting to kind of make it really difficult to maybe even detach from certain people and circumstances. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, there's some kind of a belief that you have about yourself that may be holding you back as well from making an actual decision. And I feel like what's happening in this eclipse is there's going to be a lot of challenges, square here, a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of tension between you and other people. I'm even getting pile number one that you might even have tension with siblings, because we have here the third house. You might start arguments with family members or siblings or cousins or people that are close to you, as well as even work-related or social media. You might notice that there's going to be things that come up, like, say, for instance, you might have people getting angry at you online, or you're going to have people that might, like, again, as there's something about here where it comes to some kind of opposition with another that is going to almost enlighten you to the reality of what's going on in your life and to who is and isn't in your corner. So there's going to be kind of this upheaval, this situation that is going to cause you guys to really have to pull back your energy and really have to pull back on what it is that you think you need to do in order to move past this situation. So I just feel like that's kind of what's going on right now. There's something about also needing your attention. Sometime in this eclipse, pile number one, there's going to be something that's going to immediately try and get your attention, whether this is a person or a situation. And I feel like for a lot of you guys as well, it has a lot to do with having to figure out how to almost coexist with certain people. So your environment might have kind of that Mars energy, right? A lot of movement, even though we don't have Mars here. It kind of just feels like that, like a lot of movement or a lot of things going on in your existing environment. It's going to require you to pay attention, as well as being more a little analytical. I think you guys are kind of getting pushed into that introspective mode where you're starting to talk less and maybe listen more, or observing the reality around you a little more. There's something that's kind of coming up into your guys' existence that is just starting to like push you into the direction that you need to go, that's going to kind of just like force you guys to really sit with your energy, to really sit with where you're at. And that's kind of what I'm getting here, pile number 1, is that you're going to start noticing little details that you might have missed, right? There's something about, and it has a lot to do with what people around you are doing or saying. It's like you guys are starting to get so like almost laser focused on certain events, and it's almost like it's going to get you out of your head a little. It's weird. It's like you're going to get into your head, but it's also going to help you get out of that head space, right? Like you're not going to be as anxious. Once the eclipse is over, things are going to start settling down for you. But because this eclipse right now is activated, it's like it's activating you to use your intellect. It's activating you to pay attention. There's something here where maybe you guys have a tendency of like rushing or going through life, maybe in a faster pace, or maybe you're not as observant. But now it's like things are going to come in, and it's like causing you guys to become way more observant in your surroundings. So to have the third house, for all of this is perception. This is all about how we perceive, because you have to think too, the third house has a lot to do with your siblings, social media, even dating as well, or just like little short trips. So you might have like little hiccups, like maybe your car's not starting right, or maybe you notice your car needs to be serviced, or again, there's like maybe you're gonna go on a date and someone cancels. There's something here of little annoyances, and it's the outlook of that you are going to be shifting. You have a certain perception of how life needs to go, and it's a very rigid perception, because as we go through life, we end up crystallizing, right, our beliefs about people or certain situations or circumstances. And it's almost like this eclipse is like, this is an illusion, this isn't. It's like it's forcing people to wake up from a dream, right? We've all been daydreaming, or we've all been sleeping through life. And it's like this is all coming to shake up our lives. So everything is going on all at once. And there is this great sense of overwhelm that I kind of feel with you guys. Some of you guys maybe have even lost a sense of what brought you joy and passion in your life. And it's really causing you guys to basically reevaluate the way that you are seeing life, the way that you are seeing certain situations. Right now, pile number 1, things might be in the unknown for you. You might be kind of in this weird, ominous state where things are kind of like this mystery, you're not really sure. But it's almost like pile number 1, your psychic abilities is going to start heightening after this eclipse. Because again, at the bottom of the deck, we have that third eye. I feel like something is going to be heightening for you on a more spiritual level. So you guys are going to start waking up to the reality of certain situations and certain circumstances that's going to really force you guys into a role of needing to empower yourself. Now remember, Scorpio is all about power dynamics, and this is about relationships. So maybe you had a power dynamic that was imbalanced, whether this is a family member, a coworker, a friend, it can even be yourself, because again, a lot of this is deep, intimate wounds, deep, intimate healing. So a lot of you guys right now, it's almost like these little hiccups around the third house, because it feels like there's a lot of things going on in the third house this month for you during this eclipse, and it's really forcing you guys to change the way that you perceive things, the way that maybe you It's like even the way that you are socializing, pile number one, is going to start changing soon. Because again, you're going to have a different outlook on life. You're going to see things in a different way now. And it's almost going to be easier to express yourselves in that way. So it's just like there is this sense of really needing to figure out who you are and what you want. And it's like, again, too, there's something about maybe even a body image issue that might be coming up for you guys. So pile number one, there's a lot, right? This is a lot of energy. And of course, I feel like there's a lot of people that chose this pile. So I'm trying to not generalize it too much, but at the same time, there's just a lot of little things coming up for you guys, a lot of little insecurities and a lot of little inconveniences that is frustrating you, that's causing you and forcing you to almost kind of get out of your comfort zone. And that's kind of what this eclipse is doing. Like I said, it's activating our south node and our north node, and it's really forcing you guys to start to do things that will actually in the long run start to empower you. Because I get the feeling that you're gonna have little weird immediate things that's gonna come up that you're gonna have to deal with right then and there. You can't wait, you can't put it off. You know, this month, I feel like you guys are not gonna be able to put off the things that you think you can or that you used to put off. So let's just kind of pull a little bit, little cards here just to kind of see what kind of interactions you guys might be going through at this time during this eclipse. Because there's just this sense of needing to isolate yourself a little bit more just to really get clear, pile number one. What do you really want? Because for some of you guys, you're starting to get a reality check here. People that you thought were maybe your friends are not your friends. Situations that you thought were meant for you falls away, or something ends up happening, and it's like there's something in your guys' path that's throwing you guys off, that's causing you guys to almost need to reevaluate certain situations and circumstances in your life. And it's causing you guys to really have to kind of figure this out, right? So let's see here. What is this Tower moment? Let's start clarifying the tarot here. Clarifying the Tower. Yeah, see, this is something about what is truly meant for you. You're going to notice that there's going to be this, I almost get this sense that the Tower moment was somebody could have expected you to give more and they were not giving enough, right? There was something here where maybe you guys were forced to put your foot down and say, no, that's not what's happening here. I'm not allowing this to happen. I'm not allowing this to take over, basically. With that Hermit here, I get this sense too, there's definitely some heartbreak and disappointment here with whatever that Tower moment ended up happening, but this is kind of forcing you guys to really think about something, really contemplate something on a deeper level, and it has something to do with a past hurt or a past pain. And it's almost like whether this, so say for instance, okay, pile number one, I hope I'm not losing people here because there's a lot to talk about. I feel like, let's just say this as an example, okay? Say you dated somebody and this person cheated on you and it really hurt you. And then say a year or two later, this eclipse happens, right? And now you are dating somebody else that perhaps is triggering you in the way that your ex did, right? Maybe they cheated or maybe they did. There's something here where you're noticing a pattern, basically is what I'm trying to say. You're noticing a pattern with relationships and those around you that you may have once missed or may have not realized was even an issue or even a pattern to begin with. So it's causing you guys to no longer sit there and dwell on the past. There is this sense of needing to move forward. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're finally waking up to the truth of a connection or a situationship that really could have potentially hurt you. And it's almost like now things are going to start making more sense to you. The things that you guys worked on. So for instance, pile number 1, I get the sense that whatever this was that you're contemplating, you felt like it was a major loss. You feel like it was a major waste of time, that it was just not something that you, let's just say, like, I wouldn't say that you were ashamed of it, but I would definitely say that you were not, there was this sense of like, wow, why did I do that? You're kind of beating yourself up a little bit over something, because I think something's now coming to light on a situation, even though you weren't sure about it. Yeah, you're gonna walk away emotionally from this, but again, it's just this back and forth right now. There's this, you're being kind of afraid of repeating a cycle. There is this feeling of like, well, if I do allow this, is this just gonna hurt me down the line? So a lot of you guys are kind of getting clear on relationships and the way that you interact with people. Again, there's something here about maybe even wanting to communicate. You might have somebody showing up in your life too. I feel like for some of you guys, you might even have somebody in your past who hurt you that wants to come forward and communicate with you, because this person is missing you or regretting what they did. So maybe that's what I'm picking up as well. And now it's leaving you guys with this, like, well, should I interact with this person? Should I let this person go? For a lot of you guys, you're kind of in your head about, it's like you see this as a burden. You know that what this person could be saying is false, but there's this sense of really wanting to believe it. So you guys are kind of in this odd phase right now where there's a lot up in the air, and honestly, you guys, your life can go in any direction at this point. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Pile number 1, you might not really know what next month brings you, right? There's definitely this inner conflict, but as well as noticing what other people are saying and doing too. So there is this like internal introspection about yourself, but you're also noticing everyone else around you and how they're reacting to you. So you're kind of in this phase of really debating on, is this even worth it? Is this even worth talking about? Is this even worth going after? There's definitely this sense of feeling kind of lost, feeling kind of not sure what direction to head into, because you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to mess yourself up. Yeah, it's like this juggling back and forth situation. There is this sense of being afraid of disappointing others too, pile number 1. And I almost get that this is something that's kind of boiling up to the surface as well. Is I get the sense that maybe at a young age, you guys could have been responsible for a lot of things, or there is just this genuine fear of disappointing those around you that you care about. So it's kind of causing you guys to really like go through this conflict with people and others. So there is this like, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then there's this sense of needing to grow up, right? It's almost like right now, pile number 1, things are coming into your life to force you to mature, to force you to empower yourself. You guys need to be more empowered with who you are and not try to rely on other people's opinions or their beliefs or their thoughts to help you get through the day, right? So you're going to notice like, oh, I need help with something. Somebody says, oh, I'll come and help you with it. And then they cancel or they fall through on their plan. And it's almost like it's forcing you to get out of your own headspace or to start taking action for yourself. So there's a couple of things too here. that I feel like is coming into your guys' reality. So pay attention to the things that are leaving your life and the things that are coming in, because right now is the time to be more grateful for the things that you guys have, because I feel like right now, pile number one, whether you realize it or not, you're going to start receiving blessings from things from the past or things that are working in your favor behind the scenes. There is something here, pile number one, that I feel like is kind of hidden, that even I myself cannot really explain. There's almost feels like there's some kind of weird auspicious force that's working in your favor at this time. So there's like, be grateful for the little things, because those little things will start to become big things. So what may be an opportunity for you may not look like a big opportunity, but in the long run, it's going to be a massive opportunity or a massive gain. So it's like, be grateful for little things, because those little things are actually what's going to be almost serving you down the line. So for some of you guys, I get this feeling too that there's somebody in your group, pile number one, that is playing tricks on you or is lying to you, and I feel like they're going to be exposed. So that's something that the eclipse is kind of showing you right now, is there may be somebody around you that's not the best. When I flipped the cards, this was in the reverse, but then when I put it down, it was in the upright. So I get the feeling that maybe there's some kind of wisdom to be gained from this connection, but in order for you to actually gain this wisdom, it's going to require you to really learn to let things go. Again, there's something about here in this 12th house, you're going to have to surrender, you're going to have to learn to let go of things that don't serve you, but I just kind of get this sense that it's almost like maybe you felt guilty for some kind of weird situation, and it's almost like you're having to learn to break that guilt, because maybe somebody is guilt tripping you into doing things that you don't want to do, or it's almost like you have somebody in your life, pile number one, that's trying to almost get you off your path or get you off of a certain direction that you're heading in. So it's like using your discernment and your wisdom. It's like you have somebody around you that's not playing fair, that's not giving you what you need in return for what you give them. So there is this sense of really needing to work through these issues and understand where you stand and where another person stands. So we have here that isolation card, and I feel like for a lot of you, like I said, you really need to isolate yourselves at this time and really think about what it is that you want. There's definitely, I almost get this feeling that there's going to be something that's going to happen in your life that's going to kind of force you to isolate yourself, or that you're going to have an opportunity in this time of month to have alone time for you to actually start to make sure that you're on the path that you want to go down. Because there's something here of almost maybe needing to do a detour or not seeing something quite as it is. And at the bottom of the deck on that as well, we have destiny. What is it saying? You know, with the North Node and the South Node, there's something here about your guys. You're getting pushed into destiny. You're getting pushed into something that's going to benefit you long term, but you need to be open up your third eye, or you need to be more conscious or use your intuition about something, because I feel like somebody's trying to almost take you off of that path, right? So guilt. What was I saying? Guilt. Guilt is something that is being worked through at this point in time. Now, I want to talk a little bit about guilt here. Guilt is a very interesting emotion because it really does impact our mental health. Guilt is something that when somebody makes you feel guilty for an action that you do, oftentimes we start to dance around subjects, right? Or we walk on eggshells because we don't want to affect someone else. We start to change our behaviors that may not actually be beneficial for us out of the sense of guilt. Or we'll make a decision for other people instead of ourselves because of guilt. So I think that what is being purged out for you at this time, what is becoming a huge emotional burden for you, to the point where, because this eclipse, it's making it so uncomfortable that we have to let it go, that we have no choice. We must let this go. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, that's what's going on, is this sense of guilt around putting yourself first, or around even making a decision that you know is going to upset others. So it's really needing to take that time out right now and really kind of evaluate, it's like you can't always live for other people. We have to also do what's best for us. And I feel like pile number one, you're reaching that point in time where maybe you're like, I'm not going to feel so guilty about this. For some of you guys, this could even be like a mother figure that's guilt tripping you. Or there's just somebody around you that feeds off of that insecurity or feeds off of that wound that you have. And it's almost like they're kind of coming to light where you're starting to see that they're guilt tripping you. It's almost like, it's going to be weird too, pile number one, because let's say, for instance, you'll be sitting here talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden it's like you'll be listening to what they're saying, but you'll feel something's off, or you'll feel like there's something more than what this person's giving you. Like maybe they're withholding a truth, or maybe they're sugarcoating something, or they're not giving you everything you need. There's some kind of like information that's going to be kind of withheld from you, but you're going to feel that weird energy between you and a person. And it's like, trust that exchange. Trust how others make you feel at this time. Because I get the sense that you're around somebody, pile number one, that could be potentially that might not have your best interest at heart. And it's not because, like, say they're bad people. They might care about you, but this person has their own hidden agenda. This person has their own insecurities. Like, again, power dynamics. This is coming up heavily right now in this month. And the fact that we have it all in Scorpio, I mean, it's telling you a lot about people's shadow sides starting to come to light. This person around you, I feel like, is starting to try and convince you or convince others of something that might not be true. So if you're around somebody who's trying to really sell you on a lie, pay attention to their words. And I feel like that you will. And it's kind of funny because I get this image in my head of like somebody just sitting there listening to somebody talk, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh my gosh, everything makes sense now. It's almost like something randomly clicks in your mind while you're listening to somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, everything makes sense. This person's guilt tripping me, or this person's doing this or that. It's almost like something's gonna just pop up in your mind, an idea, a belief, or a feeling, a sensation. Something's gonna come to you when you're interacting with someone, and all of a sudden you're gonna realize what this person's trying to do. And I feel like, again, you're around somebody that's trying to trick you. You're around somebody that's trying to pull the wool in your eyes. They don't want you to see what they're doing. So we have here visualization. A lot of you guys' manifestations are going to be coming in. Now, when you start to release this sense of guilt, this heavy burden of not wanting to disappoint anybody, or just feeling like you need to do things out of obligation, there's this sense of reevaluating your actions and where you're going with people. And I get this sense too, it's like now is the time with this isolation. When you learn to isolate yourself and then you visualize what you see yourself doing in the future, if you can hold that vibration, I feel like things are going to just start taking off for you very quickly. But there is this sense of getting out of your own way, pile number one. So I feel like a lot of you guys, you're in this focused state, but you're also really in this imaginative state where you're seeing things of what is a potential, what is a possibility. So it's almost like you're opening your mind to more than one possibility, when maybe in the past you only had one or two possibilities. So there's something about maybe you really opening up your third eye, or really opening up your mind. We have here sacral chakra. So a lot of you guys, you are starting to heal that sacral chakra. Now the sacral chakra is, again, a lot about emotions, and guilt is heavily associated as well with the sacral too. So there is this sense of releasing this burden, or releasing this need to have to appease others. There's this like sense of some of you guys are really starting to cut out this people-pleasing situations. You're no longer just going to keep giving. You expect to receive. there is this sense of you now expecting others to give to you instead of you always giving to them. And you're going to notice too, pile number one, that certain people in your situation are going to get angry with you. They're going to get mad at you because you're changing the power dynamics of the relationship. You're changing the way that you give or the way that you share. Maybe you guys used to share with people, not just like physical assets or anything as well, but I'm talking about like maybe you used to tell people your business, and now maybe you're wanting to be a little more secretive with your heart. Maybe you're a little bit more careful with how you are expressing yourself, pile number one, because you are noticing people around you maybe taking advantage of the things that you tell them. Maybe these people around you, because again, I just feel like you're dealing with one or two people that are trying to take advantage of you, and it's like you're realizing it, you're seeing it, and it's like you're putting an end to it before it even begins. It's like it's almost like you're 10 steps ahead of everybody around you, but you may appear aloof, or you may appear like you don't know what's going on, which is going to serve you down the line, because some of these people think that they have you figured out, or that they think they know better than you, but you're gonna like surprise them, right? So it's like these people are trying to bring a tower moment into your life, but you're actually the one that's bringing the tower moment in theirs. So there's something about you dodging a bullet, and it's only because things are kind of coming to the surface where all of a sudden you're gonna have that like epiphany or that haha moment, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, everything makes sense now. I understand. I don't need to second guess myself as much. So there's something here about really needing to listen to that intuition. We have here compassion. Some of this is calling for you to have compassion, especially to the people that are really trying to keep you stuck or really trying to control you. Because pile number one, I think you guys have had a lot of people that tried to control you growing up. And maybe you were always that person that just, I don't know, I wouldn't say you did what you were told, but maybe you just allowed people, it's like you didn't want, I just get that pile number one, the people that are tuning into this pile, you guys are kind of like those people that don't like to rock the boat or don't like to cause disturbances. It's like you actually enjoy having the peace in relationships. And I mean, who wouldn't, right? We all want to have like this more harmonious relationship with one another, and I feel like you try to keep the peace. You're kind of like that peacekeeper, or you're the one that tries to resolve conflicts with people. You might be the one to apologize first, even when maybe you didn't do anything wrong. So there is this sense of, learning to have compassion, but not needing to sacrifice self. Learning to have compassion for yourself, but not needing to beat yourself up for the mistakes or for the things that you do. So there's this sense of this time in the eclipse, you're gonna have like maybe harsh arguments, or there's gonna be things that kind of come up that's gonna almost cause you to try and be the bigger person. You guys are gonna need to be the bigger person in a situation, but you do not need to grovel down to what their demands, or you do not need to do what they tell you to do. You do not need to, you can still show somebody compassion, but not sacrifice yourself. It's like you don't need to light yourself on fire to keep other people warm around you. You can allow them to be cold and still give them the compassion, but you don't need to harm yourself in the process of helping another. And I think that's kind of what this eclipse is starting to really show you, is where is it that you're compromising a little too hard with people? Where is it that you're self-sacrificing when you don't need to? And where is it that you can self-preserve? There's something about having to have self-preservation this month, and especially because there's going to be some kind of, like, maybe your resources are more sparred. Maybe you guys are noticing that, you're not, like, you just don't maybe have as much as you really need or want, or that would make you feel comfortable. So it's like really needing to be a little more stingy with your time, your resources, maybe the people you hang around. I also think pile number one, you might even try and distance yourself from some of these people that you hang around, because you kind of get that feeling or that energy that they're trying to play games with you, or they're trying to trick you. There's something here about you starting to see people for who they really are, and that might make you, it might make you kind of have to think twice or step back a little bit. So we also have your inspiration. So I feel like ideas and things are going to come to you, and I feel like you need to write them down. Maybe this is a good month to carry around a notepad and a pencil or something, but just like, or just write it in your phone, text it out or something. You need to like write down ideas. You need to maybe journal a little more. There's something about you guys getting random inspiration or random ideas or random thoughts that come into your guys' awareness that's going to say, oh, maybe I should do this. That sounds like a good idea. Or maybe I should do that. This seems like a fun idea. And it's going to really kind of push you guys to taking a different action or taking a different approach. And like I said, pile number one, your life is going to end up so drastically different than I think you even initially planned. You think you're going to move here, but instead you move somewhere else. So you think you're going to go be with this person, but it ends up falling through and you end up with a different person that's better. There's something about you guys that, this is why I feel like you need to be more grateful. That's why I think the gratitude card came out, is because there is going to be some kind of inspiration or some kind of idea that comes to you, and it's like your intuition is trying to urge you to follow that idea so that you can get on the path of your destiny, so that you can get where you need to go. And wherever you're heading, pile number one, even no matter how uncertain it is at this point in time in your life, because I am sensing that it is definitely uncertain at this point. You don't really know where you're going. You don't really know what you're doing. But that's also the beauty of it. It's almost like you don't need to know what's happening, right? Again, Scorpio is very secretive. Maybe things around you, it seems like it's kind of like, again, a lot of things are working behind the scenes for you, but that's it. It's working behind the scenes. So you're not seeing it. It's like maybe you have this nudge that something good's gonna happen to you, but you don't see anything good happening, right? It's almost like you might feel this energy or this surge of wanting to go and do something, but you don't know what to do. You know, little things like that's going to show up in your guys' reality, and it's only because it's almost like it's trying to give you a taste of what is coming, or it's almost like you're feeling like something is going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And so there's this, you're not really getting confirmation, but it's like trusting yourself. That's what's going to bring you to where you need to go. We also have here communication. So again, there's something about needing to stand up for yourself, expressing yourself a little more. You have somebody, or I feel like it's either one person or two people around you that do not have your best interest at heart, or is just not giving you what you want or what you need. And it's kind of pushing you guys to almost see things differently, or to almost put yourself in a better position. It's like, so stand up for yourself, communicate what you want, what's your needs. And the people that cannot deliver that are the ones that I feel like are going to kind of fall away. So there's this really awkward phase right now, pile number one, where you're kind of like in the in-between of like, you know something's great is going to happen to you, but you just don't have the physical reality show you that yet. Or again, there's just this sense of too of maybe you guys listening more and not talking as much, or maybe you used to talk less and now you're talking more, right? There's something about your communication that is kind of fluctuating at this point in time. So it's like things are going to kind of come in to your awareness about certain people or situations, and it's like this solar eclipse is really forcing you to have to, like I said, put your foot down or kind of tell people what it is that you want or what it is that you need, and it's kind of help you kind of navigate through those difficult times. So we also have the bottom here, we have presence. So you have awareness, attention, reality, and connection. Again, your reality is shifting. The way you perceive reality is shifting. What you once thought was reality, you're going to realize was either an illusion or was not real or wasn't built on a solid foundation. But it's almost like this eclipse is almost forcing you to be more present, right? You can't gloss over the details. You have to pay attention to the details. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you, because it's almost like it's calling for you to pay attention to the things that is and isn't working out for you, so that you guys can finally correct it and help yourself through it's like a tough situation that you're going through at this time. And it's forcing you guys to almost let it go, or to push yourself out of that, so that you're not holding on to that anymore. So there is this needing to have more awareness. You're just developing more awareness around you. And I think that you're going to see things that you're like, wow, why did I miss that? How did I miss that? And it's just because things are going to start to show itself in a different way, or in a different light. And I get that you were around people that lied to you, and so maybe the reason you were a little disillusioned was because people, like I said, with withholding information from you, or a situation from you, so you weren't getting the full understanding. So you're walking around with this belief that might not be really 100% accurate, and so that's going to self-correct itself during this eclipse. So we have here basket, recognition, reward for merit. Some of you guys, like I said, you're going to reap rewards. You're going to reap little things that you've put effort and time into. So that's why it's saying be grateful, have some gratitude. So you guys are really pushing yourselves into a different direction. That's really going to help you blossom. It's really going to force you guys to really change the way that you are. So it's like, you guys maybe thought something was a waste of time, but you're going to realize that you are going to reap the rewards of that, or that something else is going to pay itself off for you. Some of you guys, maybe you dealt with coworkers or people that tried to stifle you at work, and you standing up for yourself and you putting yourself forward is going to also give you the reward or the recognition you need. So we have here Fox. Shrewdness and resourcefulness, especially in business. Yeah, see, this is what I was gonna say, right? Something about work, maybe. I feel like for some of you guys, your dynamics around work are changing, whether someone's getting fired or someone's getting hired on, or maybe you're leveling up in a position. There's something about work too that seems to also be shifting and changing in your guys' life. So around career or around your finances is going to start improving. But it's almost like it could have taken you a while to get to that point. But again, needing to have that resourcefulness. This is the time that it's kind of calling for you, pile number one, to be a little more resourceful with what you have and utilize what you have in order to gain more. So we have here kangaroo, unsettled times, need a plan ahead. So like I said, there's going to be little hiccups throughout the month or throughout this eclipse that's going to kind of like make you have to maybe reschedule things or have to maybe replan things around, right? I was saying that, especially with that third house, there's definitely something here about the third house and needing to really change things up, or things are going to start changing in that house for you. Oh, sorry, I'm getting tired. So we have here October. Something crazy could have been happening in the month of October. I mean, we just got out of October, or even maybe something in the next year of October. But I get that something significant, and I feel like it could be that tower moment, right? That tower moment happened in October, and this is also kind of forcing you guys to heal through something or to release something. So we have here forest, muddled and unclear thinking. Yeah, see, again, I think pile number one, somebody was messing with your head, right, with that trickery. They were almost giving you, because like I said, that wisdom card was kind of in the reverse and then it came upright. I feel like somebody was messing with your psyche or messing with your mind. They were telling you things that were not true. And it's like, right now, things might feel muddled or unclear, and it's like things are going to start, like you can't really tell the forest from the trees, but now things are going to eventually it's going to get you out of that, right? So what you once believed was reality, you're going to realize was a lie, or was what somebody wanted you to think, or what somebody wanted you to feel. And instead, you're going to say, you know what? No, this isn't for me. This is who I am. So in this time frame, you guys are really evolving mentally. You guys are really going to be upgrading mentally, and I'm even getting that this is going to even help you in your finances. This is going to help you in your career. Maybe you had a boss, or you had somebody that lied to you about something, and it could have threw you off. It could, like I said, somebody here is trying to bring you down, or trying to hurt you in some way, or trying to deceive you in some way, but it's like it's not gonna work itself out. You're gonna almost become aware of it, but just in the nick of time, right? There's something here about, it's almost like you're gonna dodge a bullet, but it's gonna happen in a way that it's almost like auspicious, or in a way that seems like, you know, God or the universe or some kind of spirit, right, is like keeping it from actually harming you. So there's something about this that almost kind of feels supernatural, but it's like everything that kind of falls into place happens so almost effortlessly, but at the same time there was difficulties before that happened, if that makes sense. So we have here door. Opportunities are awaiting for you. You guys are going to have new opportunities. New things are going to present itself. And I feel like you guys are going to, like I said, you're going to get out of a situation, pile number one, that's not serving you anymore. And it's like things that held you back from guilt, you're releasing. So I just feel like guilt is a huge factor in your decision making, and you're no longer going to allow the guilt that you feel to hold you back from things that you know is good for you, or things that you know is meant for you. So we also have here diamond. You'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. I feel like you guys are going to be in that receiving mode. So it's almost like maybe you guys gave too much out of guilt, and now because you're healing that and you're working through that, it's almost like things are going to come in that's going to be a lot more positive for you, instead of out of obligation or out of this sense of guilt. You guys maybe had a lot of guilt going on, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you had a hard time receiving because of guilt too. Maybe you were chastised or shamed for asking too much or for wanting too much. And now it's like pile number one, this eclipse, I feel like you're going to have stupid, and I mean stupid situations happening in your life. That you're going to be like, really? I'm not putting up with that. I'm not going to like allow you to do that to me. And it's going to really force you to put your foot down. And when you put your foot down, you tell it, no, this is what I want, and this is what I'm expecting, and this is what I want. It's almost like you're going to receive it now. So you're almost, pile number one, you're going to be in the process of receiving something. I'm just going to pull a little bit extra cards here for the tea leaf. And then I'm going to close out with Till Swan's blind spot cards, just to kind of see like where is your blind spot and how perhaps we can actually improve that, right? How we can improve the blind spot, or at least become more aware of our blind spots. Because right now, things are coming to light, but there's still a lot that could be considered hidden in this time of Scorpio season, right? So we're just kind of wanting to see the general vibe of everything. And I hope that so far this is resonating for everybody that's tuned in, but just definitely feels like you guys need to isolate yourself. You need to really evaluate what is good for you, pile number one, and where do you see your life in 10 years? Because I feel like you're around people that are really trying to tell you what to do and trying to hold you back, but it's just not for you, right? It's not what's going to make your heart sing. It's not what's going to bring you to tears. It's not what's going to bring this joyous situation for you. So it's like you're needing to really take a second to think about what you want, and then not bend to anyone else's will. You know, now is the time to be a little stubborn about what you want, but still be compassionate with those around you, and still be willing to listen to those around you, but you don't have to give in to their demands. And I think that's kind of where the balance is starting to kind of shift more into your favor, because maybe you just over-compromised yourself, or you always were the one giving, and now it's like, now it's your turn to receive. Now it's your turn to be, to get kind of what you want in a situation, instead of always feeling like you needed to compromise or always needing to give to others that you're just not receiving in yourself. All right. need additional messages. Because I just feel like things are going to start being more positive, especially after this eclipse is over. The second that the eclipse is over, oh my gosh, you guys, I just feel like you're going to be so grateful that it's, first off, you're going to be grateful that it's over, because I feel like there's just going to be, right now, there's like a lot of ups and downs and a lot of uncertainty, and maybe you're not very clear on certain things. But then when the eclipse starts to fade away, all of a sudden, everything's going to start making more sense to you. You're going to start saying, I'm so glad that I did this, or I'm so glad that that happened. So it's like being aware that things are coming into your life and things are going to start shifting and changing for you guys. So we have here Sun, happiness and well-being. I do feel like your happiness and your well-being is at play right now, pile number one. So again, it's saying what makes you happy, what brings you this sense of happiness, and following that and not allowing other people to talk you out of it. So we have here Beryl. You feel something is lacking in your life, perhaps love, money, or goals. And as I say that, we also have love here. And I feel like maybe you guys need more love in your life. Maybe you guys, and I was sensing that your finances are going to improve. So there definitely is a sense of lack. And I feel like what is happening here with this trickery, this everything that's going on in your guys' life, all these little ups and downs and these like little things that kind of come up to the surface, it's really forcing you guys to see the lack and to acknowledge the lack and work through those insecurities of that situation. So we also have here Claw, be careful, do not take risks. And what I'm feeling about this is be kind of careful on how you react, right, with people, because I feel like some people, especially with that trickery card, they may want you to react, they may want you to take that risk that they are trying to get you to do that is going to end up immediately blowing up in your face or backfiring. I'm not saying do not take risks in your life. What I am saying though is just be cautious of what type of risks you're taking. Be calculative on what you're doing, because again, right now, pile number one, it's really urging you to pay attention to the details and to pay attention to what comes out of other people's mouths. You know, pay attention to what people are saying around you, because some of these people are telling on themselves, pile number one, and if you are vigilant enough, if you are aware enough, you're going to see people for really who they are and really what is going on in your existence. And I feel like something's going on out there. I feel like there's going to be this sense and this need to, like I said, just be a little more conscientious of life itself and what other people around you are trying to do. I feel like for some of you guys here, we have October and we have February. I feel like something could have happened in February, and this is the thing that I'm getting. Something that somebody said or did in February could be coming to light now. That's going to be showing you, and maybe it did, maybe something bad happened in February and then you're aware of it in October, right? There could be something there, or maybe in the upcoming February, the upcoming year, something significant is going to happen for you guys. It's going to require you that maybe love will come in February, right? For everybody, it's going to be a little different, but there's definitely something highlighted in October and in February for you guys in those months. And I feel like it's because there's something that's significant, or some kind of foundation was being destroyed or rebuilt around that time. So we also have here short journey. And what was I saying? The third house is about short trips, right? Short trips, short journeys. You guys are going to take a little short trip or a little journey somewhere that's going to also maybe give you that inspiration, or it's going to help you kind of put things into a perspective for you that's going to really help you guys release and let go of people, circumstances, situations, because it's just going to kind of give you, it's like almost needing to get out of that environment for a brief period of time so that you can finally breathe. You know, maybe you need to take a short vacation. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just something that can help clear your mind, because I feel like you're being bombarded with other people's opinions and ideas. Maybe you're getting too overwhelmed with work, or there is this sense of almost needing a break from everybody and everything around you so that you can figure out what you need, what's clear for you. And I feel like there is going to be something that's going to come up in your future or in the now that's going to let you or allow you to take that trip. So we have here not unsuccessful plans. I feel like, guys, Whoever's trying to play a trick on you, this is what the blessing is. It's not going to be successful. Whoever is trying to trick you, whoever is trying to take advantage of you, it's not going to be successful. And that's what I feel. And for some of you guys, maybe you even have plans to go do something, or to have something, or to go and pursue something, and it falls through, and it ends up being a blessing in disguise. So take it however that resonates in that way, but I definitely feel like the unsuccessful plans is actually a really good thing. It's a really positive energy that I'm feeling from that card, because I get the sense that you're around people that are either trying to take advantage of you, that's trying to hurt you, and their plans don't work out, or something that you wanted, it ended up not working out, but it ended up not working out in your favor long term. So we also have at the bottom of the deck here, Seahorse, family matters. So you might be dealing with a lot of family issues at this point in time. You might even have to put your foot down on family. Like I said, I kind of got the feeling that maybe you have maybe a mother who guilt trips you, or family members who guilt trip you, and it's almost like it's forcing you guys to set aside your pride, or to set aside a certain thing and put your foot down and say, no, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to allow that. And that's going to shake up the dynamics, and it's going to shake up some drama when it comes to family, but it's going to also ultimately give you a greater sense of self, right? Your self-worth is going to be getting highlighted when you finally stand up for yourself and put yourself first, instead of, again, compromising for the sake of another. All right, you guys, so let's pull here these cards for your blind side. What are you not aware of? And then we're gonna close off the reading. So what is my pile number one's blind side? What are they blindsided to at this time that, you know, they could use, that could help them, or that they can work on? Pile number one. Ooh, instantly. Okay. Let me grab the book, because I don't know any of these. So. What was I saying? Be careful with how you react this month. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay. Flying cards everywhere. We have here reactivity, because I was saying to you guys that you have somebody around you that's trying to play a trick on you, and it's almost like maybe they're trying to get you to react, right? They're trying to get your blood boiling so that they can say, look, pile number one is enlightened, or look what pile number one did. And it's like they're trying to play the victim. So be careful on how you react. All right, so let's read this. If you have drawn this sigil, you are currently emotionally reacting instead of responding, and you are not seeing why you are reacting in the way that you are. As people, we only react when we feel deeply threatened. The reality is that you feel unsafe and at risk in this scenario in some way. When we feel threatened, our survival mechanism takes over our capacity to objectively view or understand the situation at hand. This mechanism makes us act immediately. We react in order to avoid, postpone, or nullify the threat of loss. Like a gun, a shot, or shooting of a bullet, we act as quickly that we make serious mistakes, which we can't take back and may spend a long time paying for. If you have drawn this sigil, the threat in the circumstance in which you find yourself in is not an immediate or as big as you think it is. It may not even be there at all, but the idea of that threat is causing you to think, say, and do things that are making the problem much bigger than it was to begin with. And the more reactive you get, the more the potential for a situation will diminish. A potential for the solution will diminish. Anytime we are reactive, we are on the defensive. This means we have a real vulnerability we are hiding and guarding. What is that vulnerability? What are you really afraid of? What is really painful in this scenario? In this scenario, is it critical to stop and slow things down and do nothing until we are no longer in an emotional charged state of being? When we walk into a lake, often we stir up the mud at the bottom of the lake, and this clouds the water so we cannot see clearly. We need to stand completely still and wait for the mud to settle back to the bottom of the water in order to see clearly. The mud in the water is the scenario, is the charged emotion in our body. Do not act until it is settled. By slowing things down and refusing to act until the stirred up emotional mud has settled, you are giving yourself a chance to come out of a fight or flight mode and see the situation from the objective standpoint. You then can respond according to that. Be more objective, understanding that you have. A reaction is instinctuous and therefore driven by the subconscious mind. This means it is driven by past trauma, beliefs, biases, projects, and primitive bodily function. Because it is function of the subconscious, you do it without thinking. Response, however, is driven by the conscious mind. It happens when we make a decision after evaluating long-term effects, the impact on others, as well as our deepest values and personal truths. Because it involves consciousness choice, it is byproduct of free will. If you have drawn the sigil, you are being asked to respond, not react. If you have drawn the sigil, it will benefit you to respond, time accepting in the energy. Okay, whatever. Okay. Yes. So pile number 1, I butchered a little bit of that reading. It's fine. Whatever. But that's what I was thinking too, is like, we need to be very careful on how we evaluate ourselves in the circumstances. And again, I feel like somebody around you is triggering you, wanting you to react. I kind of got this sense too with guilt, right? Like I was saying, somebody knows how to guilt trip you, or they know your triggers. So it's like forcing you to have to, instead of reacting, which again, I am this way. I have a lot of fire in my chart, so I'm a very reactive person. It's having to learn to really push yourself to kind of like choose to use your own free will, right? To say, listen, I'm not going to react to this person even though I know that's what they want me to do. Because I get this sense too that pile number 1, you're dealing with somebody that, like I said, their plans are not going to become successful. This person is trying to take advantage of you or trying to get some kind of a reaction out of you that's going to make them look better in the long run, or is going to benefit them in the long run. But you're needing to choose to take a second and breathe. When somebody's upsetting you, instead of reacting, this is what helps me. It always helps to focus on the body. When I feel threatened by a person in that moment, sometimes I'll take a deep breath and I will just give myself a second to settle into my body. It's almost like if you pay attention to your stomach or your feet, it's gonna really help ground you so that you're not just immediately wanting to jump on someone, right? And it's easier said than done, but I do get this sense that in the month of October, all the way to the to November-ish, you're gonna start noticing somebody's going to try to upset you, or somebody's going to try to get a reaction out of you. And I feel like it's just so that they can look better or that they can get something out of it. And I feel like you guys are really needing to take that time. And I think that's another reason too, that maybe you need to isolate yourself, because if you have the ability to go and just isolate yourself instead of talking to somebody at that moment, if you have a second that you can just take to pause, it's really telling you to do so, because there is a lot of emotional traumas that's kind of coming to the surface, because again, that's kind of what this eclipse is all about. So it's really forcing you guys to take a second instead of responding and reacting. It's like instead of reacting, it's taking a second to respond instead. So it's learning to think more critically than to allow your emotions to take over. So that's what I have for you guys, for what needs to be let go of, what you're processing, how things are kind of working out for you in this eclipse. I hope that this resonates for you. I hope this made sense and helped you out in some way. Thank you guys so much. Have a great and wonderful day, pile number 1. Thank you. Bye. All right, those of you who chose pile number 2, this blue Buddha, or this tarot deck, this is going to be your guys' reading. So what is coming up for you guys to be let go of or to heal during this time of this solar eclipse in Scorpio? I'm going to shuffle the cards real quick and I will be right back. If any of you guys are interested, check out my friend's shop, Light Minded. She has a whole new fall selection of candles, bath bombs, and soaps that are now currently available. All is made from handmade with love and care, as well as high quality ingredients. I highly recommend her products, you guys. They are wonderful, so check them out. The link will be listed down below in the description box. Thank you. All right, pile number 2. So what is going on at this time of the solar eclipse for you guys? What are you releasing? What are you healing? Just kind of what's being more outlined and highlighted for you guys at this time. So with pile number 1, it was kind of, I felt like I was all over the place. There was a lot going on, but it also felt like it was work, and it felt like it was family and a little bit of love, but it felt mostly like family and work. With you guys, this feels a lot like family, or I wouldn't even say family, I would say more like friends and lovers, but really highlighting love, I feel like, for you guys for this month or for this solar eclipse. So pile number 2, what I am getting for you guys at this point in time is that some of you guys, maybe you feel like there's some kind of spark missing in your life. There's some kind of situation in your life where you feel like you're not where you want to be. There's definitely this sense of relationships not working out in the way you want. There's almost like you'll date somebody and maybe you'll find somebody that you really like, really enjoy being around, but there's like this, I don't know if it's like chemistry or this spark. There's something that's missing when it comes to romantic connections or when it comes to partnerships. Some of you guys, you're in a relationship currently or you're going to be. So this could be either way, but say if you're not single, say you're in a relationship, I can see that things are going to start kind of working itself out a little bit. You guys might have some ups and downs because right now things are being very highlighted. Things are being, again, a lot of insecurities are kind of coming up for people. So I feel like a lot of you guys are kind of working through some of these issues or some of these difficulties that is coming up in this situation at this point in time. So I feel like that is something that is kind of happening for you guys. If you guys are single, it's almost like somebody's going to start to show up in your guys' reality. There's something here though about not following your intuition or not being aware about something. I almost get the sense that it's a pattern about a connection. Maybe you always date similar type of people, right? And maybe you're not consciously aware of it, but now it's almost like things are gonna, it's almost like you guys are gonna get a better perspective about the types of people that you date or about the situation that you have dealt with. So there's something about maybe you reevaluating perhaps even past connections with people and why it didn't work out. But there's definitely something here about maybe there's like an interference even when it comes to your intimate relationships. There could be some kind of people or work. There could be something that's kind of getting in the way of you maybe dating or you maybe getting closer with a partner, but there feels like there is this touch and go circumstance or situation that I feel like a lot of you guys are kind of in that process of working through at this time, or even kind of like, again, just like this sense of really needing to reevaluate what it is that you want. But there's just this sense too of there's something that is missing. There's something there that is, and I don't know if it's just like the determination of wanting to be with someone. I'm not really sure here, but there's definitely something here of feeling like you are not getting what you want or that you're asking for. So there's definitely something here of a little bit of a disappointment in love, but also wanting to love people, wanting to be close to people. So I'm going to just kind of clarify a little bit of these cards here just to kind of get a little bit more of a general overview of the tarot. But yeah, let's just kind of see why is that Page of Rods, because that's really highlighted for me is, you know, the Page of Rods and the High Priestess, because it feels like there's something that they're connected in a way. So let's see here. For a lot of you guys, there has just been this standstill with people and connections and feeling like there's never this equal give and take. Because remember, right now, the solar eclipse is really highlighting our insecurities with intimacy and our give and our receiving energies. And I feel like it's really kind of forcing you guys to kind of reevaluate that a little bit. I feel like for a lot of you guys, maybe you fixated and focused on what went wrong in connections instead of the positives, right? A lot of times we focus on the positives while we're dating people. I just kind of get this feeling, again, there's something about wanting to cooperate with somebody, wanting somebody to pay attention or give you what you need. There's definitely something of figuring out what you want. Pile number 2, there is this sense of I'm happy, but I'm not happy where I am. And really needing to evaluate why you feel this way. Because for some of you guys, you could have caught people that you were dating in lies, and maybe they were deceitful. There's something here about just not being really happy about your current circumstances in love. And again, I keep getting this sense that you've been around people that maybe have been in competition with you, even if they were romantic, right? Maybe you would date somebody and they were always trying to fight for like to prove that they were better or something, or they always felt like they had to one-up you in some way. There's something here about just feeling tired and exhausted about connections and feeling there is this sense of almost, for some of you guys, if you are single, right? If you guys are single, maybe you guys have been kind of afraid to go back out there and to date because maybe you felt like their connections were always one-sided, or that you always had to chase, or that you always had to give more, or again, there's always that competition. For others of you, if you're in a connection right now, you're noticing that maybe you and your partner are kind of working through this power dynamic between the two. There's definitely this sense of needing to, it's almost like you're waiting for somebody to give you what you're asking for. There is this feeling that what is going on in the eclipse right now is really highlighting how much you're giving to others and how little or how much they're giving to you. So maybe there's this little tit for tat situation going on at this time. There's definitely something where it feels like maybe love was transactional for you, and that could be some kind of a habit that you're learning to break. Yeah, because I just get this sense of you always felt like you had to defend yourself, pile number 2, in connections. And there was just this like you needing to it's almost felt like you had to, like you could never truly commit, right? And maybe that's the issue here, is wanting to commit to someone but feeling like other people do not want to commit to you. There is just this feeling of wanting to gain clarity with people. Maybe you've been around people that don't communicate very well about how they feel, or maybe you just don't really know where you stand. And even if you are currently dating someone, maybe you're just feeling like you don't know where you stand with your partner at this time. And there's just this stress and anxiety that you feel when it comes to connections. Sorry, my dog. No. Okay. Because there is just this like, yeah, you're being more careful what you invest in. I think that right now, some of you guys, if you're single, you're focusing only on friendships, or you're focusing on building a better rapport with people you know. There's definitely something here highlighting how you are investing into, or you're waiting for something to come to. Some of you guys, maybe you're just waiting for somebody to come in instead of just trying to find that person, right? But I just get the sense that, you know, other people could be taking up your time right now. Some of you guys, you have a particular friendship that may actually be interested in you more than a romantic situation. But also for some of you guys, it's not even really that. It's just you're juggling back and forth between work and friends, and maybe you're just not feeling the love or the support that you need. Maybe you are trying, like for instance, pile number 2, if you're single, maybe you're just focusing on friends and work. And maybe there's not much of a romance going on in your life. Or if you are, say, in a romantic connection, maybe you feel like you and your partner are not spending enough time together, or maybe you feel like you guys are growing apart a little bit. There's definitely some kind of insecurity around dating, or around romantic connections. And I feel like it's been something that has been maybe eating at you guys. There's definitely this feeling, it's like this anxiety, right? Pile number 2, we have the second house. So the second house is being highlighted in this solar eclipse for you guys at this time. Now the second house is about possessions and your finances. It could also be your value system and your own security, as well as just like the way you dress or the way that you present yourself, things that you would feel worthy about. So I get the sense that pile number 2, maybe you don't feel worthy of being truly loved, or there is this sense of needing to reevaluate the way that you view relationships and inner relationships, because maybe you guys feel like you don't really deserve the love, or you know what I mean? Like there could be like a subconscious block there about feeling like you need to earn it, or that you need to prove yourself. I'm also getting as well too that your finances in your workplace could also be highlighted as well, because we do have workaholics. So I get the feeling that really what you're trying to balance out, and this eclipse is really forcing you guys to maybe take a second to really reevaluate what you want when it comes to a partnership. Because if you guys are even, say you guys are even in a connection, right? You're not single, you're married or dating. Maybe you're still in that process of reevaluating, like what do you want, right? But there's definitely something here of this. The trine is a very harmonious placement. It's a more easier flow. The 2 planets can communicate easier with each other in astrology. So right now, you guys kind of are in this more of this flow state. So things are going to start coming into your guys' reality around this time. You're going to start noticing maybe you have more potential in dating, or more potential with friends, or just new opportunities are going to start flowing into your life, and it's going to energize you. It's going to bring you guys a sense of fulfillment, but it's really going to ask you guys to really evaluate the way you're viewing connections right now, because the way that you might be seeing a relationship, or the way you might have seen relationships, could be a little warped or a little uneasy. We also have here the 5th house, passion. I feel like this is calling for you guys to have more fun, because it did flip out in the reverse when I first pulled it, and then it came up right. So I feel like for some of you guys, it's like this is a time for you guys to think about what actually makes you happy and go and do the things that make you happy. I feel like for some of you guys, you need to take time to like do something that's going to be fun for you, like do crafts, or go out and do new things, explore new places, because that's what's also going to bring in new abundance for you guys. Because I just get this feeling that some of you guys, it's like The Shining, all work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. There's something about you guys overworking yourself or not playing a lot. You need to go out and have more fun and do more things. Because here with that Virgo and Capricorn, both are earth signs, but I just get this feeling that you guys maybe overwork yourselves, or that you guys are almost maybe too in your head. You're too analytical, or you're too, it's like time to start grounding yourself in your body again, time to start going out and having more fun. Some of you guys have been in your masculine energy for far too long, and it's time to start kind of flowing more into that feminine energy, that more receptive mode, instead of the constant giving or the constant doing. Now it's time to have more fun. Now it's time to have more play instead of overdoing it or overworking yourself too much. Because I feel like pile number 2, you guys maybe overwork yourselves a little too hard at times, and then you might not understand why you feel or think a certain way, and it's going to really help you guys see things in a different light. Because I kind of get this feeling, pile number 2, that you guys are maybe avoiding intimacy in some degree or another. There's something here about wanting to avoid dating or avoid getting too close to your partner, because there is this sense of vulnerability. So it's almost like it's easier for you guys to just like put your head down and keep working and keep going. But it's like you need to realize that it's funny because for you guys, during this entire solar eclipse, it's almost like new things are coming in for you to have fun, but there's this part of you that's rigid, that's like, no, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the challenge, because you guys are going to have challenges and you're going to have more flexibility. So we have here the, I'm sorry. We have here the 8th house, which is very fitting because that's Scorpio's domain. And again, everything is being really highlighted right now in the 7th and in the 8th house for a lot of people. And it's really just having to figure out, where are you investing in yourself? Where are you investing in others? As well as what are the insecurities that's leading you guys from not having true intimacy with another person, as well as it's asking you guys to open up the idea about your sexuality. Some of you guys maybe are not fully aware about your sexuality, because sexuality is a huge portion of our life, whether we realize it or not, because our sexual energy is creation. It's a creative energy. So this is going to help when you can kind of break down what your sexuality is. It's going to help you guys with your business. It's going to help you guys with your work. It's going to help you with other people. It's going to help you understand yourself more. It's going to help other people understand you more. So your sexuality is very important right now at this time. And I feel like some of you guys, maybe you're learning more about your sexuality, or you're just learning to embrace it a little bit more. So for some of you guys, it's learning to have more of that deeper intimacy with self, as well as don't be afraid to explore new things about you. The 8th house is all about taboos. So it's really asking you guys to reevaluate, what is your taboos? What is it that you consider? Because some of you guys, you may be like afraid to express to your partner or to express to other people what you truly want, because maybe you feel like it's taboo. Maybe you feel like they won't accept you. Maybe you're afraid of how others are going to judge you. And now it's kind of like this solar eclipse is kind of asking you to get out of that sense, get out of your comfort zone. Remember, it's like your north node and your south nodes are being activated at this time, which is all about your destiny. It's all about where you're going to be heading. And I feel like pile number 2 is that's something that is being very highlighted for you guys, is where are you going to go and how are you going to take this and where can you go with this. So we also have here the square, and this is all about challenges, about where you're going to go, what's happening for you guys. So with the fact that this is going to be kind of like a workload for you guys, this is a struggle. Maybe you guys struggled with your sexuality, or you struggled with dating, or you just struggled to relax, right? When we're in that constant fight or flight response, we're constantly in I feel like for some of you guys, you might be in chronic stress where you can't unwind, you can't relax. There's always your muscles are always tense. Right? This is the time that the eclipse is coming in right now to try to force you to almost relax more, to play more, to get out of your head more, and to not overdo it. Because right now, I feel like you guys are kind of in between this fluctuation of trying to find a balance between work and personal life, or work and I wouldn't even really say balance. It's more like what works for you. Because what's balanced for you is not what's balanced for another person. And I really think I needed to clarify that, because when we think of balance, we think, okay, 50-50, or, this needs to be this or that. And it doesn't have to be. Work can be 80%, right? And maybe that's what's balanced for you. And then the rest of it is your personal life. It doesn't have to be like that. But I just feel like for a lot of you guys, it's really just figuring out what is right for you, figuring out what is best for you, because there is definitely something here where you guys are kind of going through these challenges, and it's really asking you to ask yourself, do you really need to go through this alone, or do you really need to, is this really as bad as maybe it seems? Maybe it's not as bad as it seems. Maybe this certain situation isn't as difficult, right? There's definitely there's something here that we need to really evaluate. Now, at the bottom of the deck here, we have the 11th house. And the 11th house is all about other people. It's about it can be about, it's like other people. It's community, it's humanity, it's goals. It could also be like stepchildren. So if you guys have stepchildren, maybe you guys are going through a difficult time with your stepkids, right? It's just an example. But for some of you guys, that is a real thing, right? We are going through this eclipse and a lot of things are getting highlighted. A lot of insecurities are coming up. A lot of people are emotionally heated at this point in time. And so maybe you're noticing a little bit more about your community and a little bit more about your friendships, because I feel like friendships are being very highlighted for you guys at this point in time. Maybe, like I said, if you're single, you know, your friendships are very highlighted. If you are in a relationship, maybe you communicate a lot with your friends about your relationship. And it's like asking you guys to really take a second to really evaluate what is and isn't working out for you guys. So that is definitely something to kind of keep in mind, especially because we're going through this really intense phase right now where things are being purged out, things are getting let go of, and it's like we are learning to kind of navigate this crazy world right now. And I feel that too, some of you guys are going to make a final decision about something too that's going to really just take a load off of you. Whatever is coming up in this eclipse, there's something that you're gonna have to deal with, and it's like when you figure it out, when you deal with it, it's just gonna be like, oh, thank goodness. It's just gonna feel like this big relief. So for a lot of you guys, what is also being very highlighted for you is learning to have patience. Some of you guys might fly off the handle a little too much lately, or you might just notice that you might get into like, situations that aren't not best for you, or circumstances that aren't the greatest because of this sense of impatience. So it's really teaching you guys right now to slow down and not be too quick, right? We don't want to be too quick on what's going on around us, because there's something going on right now in your guys' life that's going to require you guys to have more patience. It's going to require you guys to take a second to step back and really think about what it is that you're going to say, what it is that you're going to do, because your thoughts and your actions and what you're going to say is going to really impact a certain situation for you. If you are in a romantic connection, be careful what you say to your partner at this time, because you might get emotionally heated, and it's like you can't take back what you say, right? It's kind of similar to pile number 1, where it's like the blind spot for them was to not react, it was to respond. And I feel like for you guys, it's kind of something a little similar, but it's mostly also just to take patience with your actions. Don't be too quick to take action on something. You know, something might come up into your reality and you feel like you have to take care of it immediately, but you don't. Take a second to breathe and really think about it before just going after it. So we also have here acceptance. There's something about also learning to accept the past, or accept something in your life at this time. There's definitely something that's going to almost give you guys a sense of relief. I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're learning to come to acceptance about a particular person or a situation or a circumstance that maybe you had no control over. Again, the eclipse is all about power dynamics and control. And I feel like some of you guys are learning to let go of things that you cannot control instead of trying to hold on to it so much. So that's something that's also gonna kind of be more highlighted for you guys, is learning not to take things too personally, or not to hold things too much in it's like not to take things way too seriously, but at the same time, it's also learning to accept the things that you cannot change. So we also have here mysticism. So a lot of you guys might become more spiritually heightened at this time, especially because I feel like some of you guys maybe in the past you missed a lot of things, or you're not seeing a lot of things. Pay attention to numbers. I feel like you guys have a lot of numbers or sequences, or there's like, say if you see the same flower over and over and over again, like what does that flower represent? What does it mean? If you see the same animal over and over again, what does that mean? You know, it's like look at the symbols and the numbers and the animals, because the universe is always communicating with us. It's not a coincidence if you see like a crow over and over and over again. You know, it's not a coincidence if you keep seeing 12, 12 over and over again, right? Because mathematically speaking, that's actually really impressive to see the same number over and over again. So it's kind of like you guys are kind of in this process right now of following the breadcrumbs that the universe is displaying to you. And I feel like when you guys do that, it's actually leading you to your path. It's leading you to your destiny. So trust in your intuition at this time. And I feel like for some of you guys, that is kind of the kicker, is you're in between like, oh, I can't really trust myself, or I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that. It's like, it's really calling for you guys to learn to trust yourself, because you guys are, on this verge of either finding a partner that's going to be perfect for you, or finding a situation that's going to help you in some way. So it's like following the little breadcrumbs that the universe leaves for you is going to really help you guys get to where you want to be and get to where you need to be. So yes, I have workaholic, and I feel like some of you guys, maybe you guys overly work yourselves, or maybe you guys are in the process of getting, for some of you guys, you might start to become workaholics, right? Maybe you guys work too much and you need to pull back and you need to have some more fun. For others of you guys, maybe you had too much fun and maybe now you're gonna become more workaholics. So I can see that there is two different types of scenarios, but it's still similar in that way, where one person might be a little too immature and is now growing up and working hard, while another person maybe worked way too hard and needs to lighten up more. So there's definitely this sense of, you know, figuring out, it's like things are going to start making more sense to you at work too. Things are going to come up for you to deal with at work, and it's going to really help, almost help you mature and help you see things differently too. Not needing to hold on so tightly to an idea or a belief, or even when it comes to work, pile number 2, I'm getting to that some of you guys may, especially because like Virgos may have that tendency, because I mean, don't get me wrong, Virgos are like, they're mutable signs, right? It's a mutable earth. But I also noticed that sometimes with Virgos, they can get so fixated because of that Mercury, right? They get so fixated on the details that sometimes they become rigid, or they don't realize that they're missing the bigger picture, or they're not seeing something all the way. So at work, it's also kind of asking you, like, you know, you're gonna see something, or you're gonna realize something that could be hindering you at work. And when you clear that block, when you release that energy, all of a sudden work's gonna be so much easier for you. You're gonna have a lot more fun at work, and things are gonna flow more easily for you in that arena. So that is also something that I'm seeing coming up for you guys. But there's definitely something about the way you perceive other people, the way you perceive others. And I feel like too here, this is the time that's being highlighted for forgiveness. And I'm not necessarily getting, oh, you have to forgive other people, but it's also just learning to be kinder to yourself and forgiving yourself for things that maybe you mistaken, or maybe things that you did wrong to some degree, right? So it's like you're learning to kind of have more forgiveness for yourself, or at least that is what the solar eclipse is trying to get you to do, is to forgive yourself and other people, because when you can accept what is no longer serving you, and when you can accept a situation even if you didn't want it to go the way that it went, it's going to also really help you guys release a lot of these burdens that you've been carrying and holding on to. And I feel like some of you guys have maybe even done things that you didn't want to do, but you felt like you had to do. And so it's just kind of like, it's almost like just forgiving your past, right? Forgiving your past self. And that's kind of what's being highlighted for you guys, is just kind of like how you view yourself and how are you worthy, right? It's like, am I worthy of receiving love? Am I worthy of receiving a partner? Some of you guys that are single, you're constantly saying, when is it my turn? When am I going to find somebody that's right for me? Nobody sparks my interest. This person's not like this. But it's like, are you willing to receive? Are you open to receive? Do you feel worthy of what you're asking for? And that's what this solar eclipse is doing for you guys at this time frame. Is it's asking you, please reevaluate the insecurities that you have around worthiness of having what you've been asking for like a year. And so it's kind of like it's forcing you, pile number 2, to really accept where you're at and to really accept the insecurities that you have, instead of pushing them away or pushing it down and saying, nope, that doesn't exist. It's almost like the eclipse. It's like, nope, you're going to notice it. No, you're going to see it. Nope, we're going to be illuminating these beliefs that you have. Because again, you got to think this solar eclipse right now is kind of forcing people to purge emotions, right? It's forcing people to step up and start mastering themselves and starting to get like more embodied, like self-empowerment, right? So that is kind of something that is being highlighted here. Is at work, you're going to have to step up, or in relationships, you're going to have to step up. There's something here, pile number 2, where you're going to have to step up, but you need to know that you are worthy of that position, or that you're worthy of these things that you need. So it's like trying to teach you not to self-sabotage so much. So right now you're purging things and learning to forgive yourself so that you don't self-sabotage later on. So we have here throat chakra. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, a lot of people right now, especially, I feel like the eclipse is partially something to do with this, but I just feel like a lot of people right now are activating self-expression. They're activating their throat chakra. This is a theme that I've been noticing with other people. Like they're maybe telling on themselves, right? They're talking too much, or they're talking too little, or they're reevaluating, or even the way people are communicating it. There's something about the throat chakra, I think, that's just being really activated at this time and on a collective level. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, it's really clearing out that throat chakra. It's clearing out what is your truth. What is your truest truth? And maybe for some of you guys, for instance, like me, I'm very blunt. I'm a very blunt person. I have Sagittarius rising, so I just communicate in a very blunt way. For some of you, maybe you're too blunt, or maybe you sugarcoat too much, right? So it's finding that perfect balance between not being too aggressive, but not being too soft either. So it's kind of like you're giving a little bit of tough love, but at the same time, you're giving kindness and compassion. You know what I mean? It's like you guys are learning to balance out the way that you communicate with others, and that's going to see a significant improvement upon the relationships you have with everyone else around you, because you're not going to be too hard on others. And it's also just telling you to be patient on yourself. How are you talking to yourself? What do you think about yourself? And that's also what's kind of being highlighted in this eclipse for you guys, is maybe you guys started to notice like, oh, maybe I'm a little too mean on myself. Like for instance, one day I was driving and I was sitting there thinking about something, and it was an insecurity of mine. And I was like, oh, well, this person's better than me, or this and that. And I just started putting myself down. And then I stopped myself midway through and thought, oh my goodness, I'm mean to myself. This isn't even an accurate depiction of the situation or the circumstance. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. So I feel like for some of you guys, that's kind of what's happening, is maybe you noticed your inner dialogue. Maybe you notice the way you talk to yourself. It's very cruel or mean, or there's something there that needs to be worked through. And I feel like that's another thing that's being highlighted for you, that is learning for you to let go of. Also, trust the gut instinct. You guys, you are, even though we have the High Priestess in the reverse, I feel like the reason it was in the reverse is because a lot of this self-doubt that you guys have. You guys are releasing self-doubt, and that's kind of what this eclipse is coming up for you guys. It's making you purge out this self-doubt, because I feel like for some of you guys, you are very in tuned, and you might not even realize how in tuned you really are. And it's like your gut instinct tells you this person's bad, but then you second guess yourself, and then you do it anyway, and then you regret it. with something like that. So it's like you guys are in this process of releasing and letting go and not holding on so tightly. And it's really just causing you guys to have to reevaluate yourself and what is and isn't right for you at this time. So it's like, stop second guessing yourself. And I think that's what the eclipse is coming in, because there's going to be something at work or a relationship or friendships. There's something that's coming into your guys' life, pile number 2, that's forcing you guys to trust yourself. That's forcing you guys to know that you have what it takes, right? Stop second guessing yourself. And that's kind of what's coming up. It's like, it's almost like things are coming up that's going to make you doubt yourself or make you second guess yourself, but then you have to take that second to break that habit, to not talk so negatively about yourself, to trust your gut, to listen to yourself, because you know what's real and what's right for you. So we also got here grounded. So again, it's getting into that present moment. It's getting into the practicality of life. Some of you guys are starting to become more grounded, and that's what I'm feeling too with that gut instinct. Your body knows when something's wrong before your brain does. How insane is that? Your gut has the same cells that are lined in your brain inside your gut and your heart. So your gut, your heart, and your brain all communicate with each other all the time. They have their own brain, essentially. So it's like, trust your gut instinct. It's not going to stir you wrong. If you have a weird feeling about a person, avoid that person. If you have a bad feeling about a situation, trust yourself. Because right now, that's what this eclipse is doing, is it's highlighting for you moments in your interactions with people, or in circumstances with people, or situations that's going to make you stop and say, wait, should I proceed forward or should I not? And that's where you need to ground yourself a little more. It's where you need to focus a little more as well, because for some of you guys, it's really asking you guys to shift the perceptions that you have about yourself. Because I think some of you guys, maybe you were talked down to a lot growing up, or maybe you didn't have a voice, or there's something here of like constantly second guessing yourself, and it's really asking you to not do that to yourself anymore, to trust yourself more. We also have your intuition. Again, your intuition is on point, but you're second guessing yourself way too much, right? You have a gut instinct and your intuition. There's things happening for you guys. Here at the bottom of the deck, we have the crown chakra. You guys are getting downloads from the divine. Like I said, you're getting breadcrumbs. So pay attention to like animals, numbers, colors even. There's just anything that you're seeing all the time, repeatedly, over and over and over again, that's really sticking out to you. Research it. What's the symbol for that? What does this mean? What's the meaning? And it's going to help you guys on your path. It's going to help you illuminate a little bit more, because for some of you guys, maybe you're walking in the dark a little bit about your life purpose or about where you're going. And it's kind of going to help you get out of your head a little bit more too. We also have here family. So some of you guys, it's all about your community right now. It's about your tribe. It's about who you associate and affiliate yourself with. And I feel like for some of you guys, you're healing past childhood trauma at this point in time. And when you do that, it's like, it's going to really open up a lot when it comes to physical relationships. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you're going to get an epiphany. Like, my mom used to do this to me, and now I'm dating somebody similar to my mom, or I'm doing this now in this relationship. You're going to notice patterns from your childhood, from where you grew up, all the way to now, and how it's affecting your intimate relationships. We also have here divine consciousness. Again, there's something about you guys being open to the divine at this point in time. You guys' crown chakra is like wide open, so you guys are receiving downloads. You guys might even be having like crazy vivid dreams, or you're just noticing like, just again, like little synchronicities, or you're just kind of starting to become more highlighted. Mysticism coming up too. It's like your spirituality is also being strengthened at this time. So paying attention to the things that are kind of holding you back, or kind of little patterns that are coming up, because that's kind of what this eclipse is doing right now. It's just really showing us where we need to improve, where we need to release. And again, a lot of emotions are rising really high right now. So it's just really figuring out and balancing out where you are right now in yourself. So we have here elephant. A long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. Yeah, you guys have gone through a lot, pile number 2. And I feel like This journey has been a long journey, and it's been I think you guys have, this feels like a really long healing journey for you, maybe mentally as well, like needing to, some of you guys might have had like depression or anxiety, or you could have had some kind of like mental disorder that you are now getting in check, that things are now going to start working itself out for you a little bit better. Things are going to be a little easier for you. But yes, this definitely does feel like a journey that's been going on for a while, but this eclipse is really highlighting some of the final things that you really need to heal in order to get to that next level of your life. So we have here a throne, position of authority. Some of you guys are going to get a position at work, or you guys are going to, or maybe even your friends see you as the leader of the group. There's something now where it's like, again, what am I saying? That self-doubt. You're going to be stepping into an authority role, or you're going to be having to take charge in some facet or area in your life that is forcing you to not doubt yourself so much. It's kind of making you step up and being more of an authority figure, because I feel like you guys have a natural authority or a natural leadership to you, but maybe you always second guessed yourself, or you always doubted yourself, and now it's like this is the time to not doubt yourself so much. This is the time to actually get up and say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is where I need to go, and you start to implicate that. So we have here caterpillar. Things will not always be this way. Change is coming. Yeah, so again, remember I said you guys need to have more fun. Maybe you took life way too seriously, and maybe you needed to, right? Maybe you needed to take life seriously. Maybe you did need to work too hard, but now it's like things are going to change. Things are not always going to stay the same. That's the point of life. We always have to have changes. So I feel like for some of you guys, it's like there is going to be this sigh of relief, and I feel like it's going to be a huge sigh of relief after a couple of weeks after this eclipse even. Then it's like everything's going to settle down for you guys. So we have here flute. Disappointment in a friend or a lover. Yeah, some of you guys, like I said at the beginning, maybe you feel like you're just not where you want, or your partner, or if you're, like I said, if you're dating somebody, there's something missing. If you're not dating somebody, there's always just feels like there is something missing in your partnerships, and it's kind of forcing you guys to heal and work through that. So at this time in the eclipse, you might have some disappointments. You might have people that let you down at times, and it's also just to make you step up more. It's just to force you guys to take accountability more for yourself. Like I was saying, pretty sure it's this pile and not the other one. But something's going to happen where people are going to cancel on you, or things are going to fall through, and it's just so that you know that you have yourself, you have your own back. And that's kind of what this is trying to force you into going into, is that you have your own back. So we have here flowers, happiness. See, happiness is coming in for you guys. This burden is finally going to be lifted off of you. It's like you just have a little extra purging, or a little extra stuff come up that gets resolved. And once it gets resolved, it's just going to be like so nice. It's going to be like night and day. There's going to be a huge difference in your reality and in your life, or even in your internal emotional state, right? Sometimes our reality doesn't change, but maybe it's how you feel about yourself that changes. And that is like going to eventually become the ripple effect of other changes. So we have here crib, birth or conception of a child or enterprise. Some of you guys may actually have children at this time, but I'm also feeling something about work, you guys. Something is going to be improving in your guys' work life, because I feel like some of you guys, maybe you work too hard. Wherever you put a lot of your time and your energy into, it doesn't even have to be work, right? Say if you put all your time and energy into family, or all your time and energy into a relationship, whatever you're putting all your energy into is going to flourish. It's going to change. It's going to evolve. And that is something that I feel like was kind of like long overdue. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, there is going to start being this positive energy in your life, but it just almost requires you guys to have to go through some difficulty, right? We have to sometimes go through difficult times in order to appreciate the better times of life. So I'm going to pull a little extra tea leaf cards just for additional messages, anything more positive, or anything that's just going to kind of highlight or come out for you guys around this eclipse. And then we're going to close off here with Till Swan's cards, the blind spot. We're going to see where your guys' blind spot is, and then we'll close off the reading. So what is happening, what's coming and highlighting here for you guys? Okay, so we have here, well, great worry over nothing. So that's what I was thinking. You guys may be worrying over nothing, or, you know, something about your guys' mental health is going to start improving. And it's because I think for some of you guys, like I said, you might have had chronic stress, and that's what's going to be leaving your life, or at least be improving in your life, because you're not going to feel so worried all the time or so stressed all the time. And that's something that's kind of being resolved during this time of the eclipse. So we have here dark woman, dealing or a relationship with a woman with a dark complexion or hair. So you could be dealing with somebody that has more of a darker feminine energy. Maybe they are physically have the complexion of a darker person. Or maybe this is just, again, just letting you know that you need to be more in that feminine energy, right? Because I said earlier, maybe you guys were too much in the masculine, do, always go, always have to do things. But now it's like, get fun, get loose, have, like, you know, it's okay to be in that masculine energy, but sometimes we need to allow ourselves to be more in that feminine energy. And I think, again, that chronic stress, it locks us into this constant doing mode, and you're needing to learn to relax a little more. So we also have here disappointment in some affair. Again, guys, something about disappointment in relationships that's coming up for you guys. And I kept feeling that the second that we started this reading, I kept feeling like there was some kind of disappointment that you've experienced. And it's allowing you guys to kind of release that and to let that go, and not to take that so personally as well, and not to hold yourself too high. Maybe you feel like, maybe you just felt like nobody around you truly understood you or really got you. Again, there's something about maybe missing a spark with the connection, or feeling like you don't have the chemistry, or you don't have the feelings to keep it going, or maybe somebody did something to you that caused you guys to withdraw or to hold yourself back. But there's definitely something here about this disappointment in a situation or with a person. Maybe it has something to do with that dark woman. We have pale. Time to get out of a situation. Yeah, so right now, you guys, this eclipse is forcing you guys to leave a connection or a breakup, because right now we either are jumping in connections, we're breaking up with people, or we are gaining or losing wealth, right? So that's kind of something that is being highlighted, because Scorpio can take away things, but it can also give us things. So it's kind of just, we're in that process right now of you maybe needing to get out of a toxic environment. Maybe it's a toxic work environment. Maybe it's a toxic relationship. It doesn't even necessarily have to be toxic. It can just be something that is long overdue, or, you know, maybe you have somebody in your life that's only meant to be there for a season, but you're trying to treat them like they're there for a lifetime. So it's really learning to let go of something. And that's, again, with that acceptance too, right? Having that acceptance of a situation. We also have here, take care or there will be a loss of material wealth. Some of you guys might have somebody as well that's trying to take from you materially. Maybe that's another disappointment in this situation, is maybe you're really seeing someone's true colors. Maybe you guys are around somebody who is trying to take advantage of you, that is trying to take money from you and your resources. Because you got to think, Scorpio is other people's resources. So you might be around somebody who's eyeing your resources or eyeing what you have, or, right? There's something here of just being a little cautious about not overspending, or being a little cautious of what other people maybe have, or maybe their hidden agendas around you. So we have hand, in need of help, assistance, and guidance. Some of you guys are going to get a handout or somebody to help you. And it's just going to be really a relief, because maybe you have people in your life that are kind of causing you to like have a burden, right? Maybe these people are more burdensome than they are helpful. And maybe you're going to come across somebody that's going to give you that hand, that's going to help you out, that's going to relieve the situation for you. And I feel like that's going to really help you guys a lot during this eclipse. So we also have here a mule. Someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change. And I feel like it could have been this dark woman, or just, again, there's a connection or a friendship in your life that is just, it's just not working out. And no matter how hard you try to change the situation, or how hard you try to almost make this person see your point of view, maybe this person's just too stubborn to see it. So it's almost like this eclipse is highlighting for you situations that are kind of like a lost cause, right? Like, okay, this is never going to change. This is not going to happen. It's time to move on. And it's like having to have that acceptance. It's also having to understand that even though you don't know where you're going to go, like say if you're in a relationship and you're breaking up, you might not know where you're going to live. You might not know if you're going to find anybody again. You might not know if you can handle being alone. But it's like really telling you to stop having that self-doubt and trusting that everything is going to work out. You know, we have to let go of things that don't serve us anymore. And this eclipse is coming in and just shaking everyone's world up right now. It's just messing everybody up. And it's just so that we can get to where we need to go. So it really is a beneficial thing in the long run. But currently, while you're in it, it's terrifying. You know, it's not an easy thing. So let's pull some cards here. What is your guys' blind spot? What is it that you're not seeing at this time of the eclipse? What is it that we can work on, right? So that's going to be what we're going to do here. It's my pile number 2's blind spot. All right, 46. I do not know any of these cards, so I'm going to have to pull it up from the book. The faulty compass. If you have drawn this sigil, you are allowing emotional influence to guide you. But the emotion you are being guided by is not an accurate reflection of your personal truth or the truth of the situation at hand. Essentially, you are allowing your emotion to cloud your awareness. When we are in a positive mental and emotional state, we tend to perceive situations to be high benefit and low risk. On the other hand, if we are in a negative emotional state, we will see a situation to be low in benefits and high in risk. For example, let's imagine that you are bullied in school by someone who made you feel sad and worthless. If you see that same person 20 years later, you'll probably still dislike them, even if they are nothing like they were before. Because your emotions say that person is bad, emotions function like a compass, pointing you through life. If your compass was not messed with, you would not fall out of touch with your own due north. You would not see your emotions as wrong, and therefore you would see every emotion as valid and happening for an important reason. You would listen carefully to the personal and truth being conveyed in every emotion, and you would follow what feels good with awareness in the same way you would follow a compass. If you felt bad, you would understand that your thoughts, words, and actions were taking you in the wrong direction. But our compasses are messed up with distorted by thoughts passed down to us, information we are fed, beliefs we are conditioned to adopt, ways that information is present to us, experiences we've had, and meaning that we assign to experiences. They are especially messed with during the process of socializing. When we become into contact with other people who cannot accommodate our truth, including wants, needs, and personal purpose, and require us to let go of our own truth for them, they expect us to believe that this is the only way to avoid conflict and to feel good. They ask us to replace our internal compass with theirs, and they fiddle with our compass, so it's no longer reflecting our personal truth. Since your emotions are like a compass, always conveying personal truth to you and always pointing to you in the direction that is right for you to go there is nothing more critical to do in life than to get back in touch with your emotions and to start following that internal guidance system again. This is why teaching like following your joy and being unconditionally present to your emotions and make how you feel the most important thing in your life are so critical. But there is one major problem inherent to approaching life with this blind conviction, and that is our feelings. If our compass has been messed with, we might very well be walking through life with our wires completely crossed. If you have drawn the sigil, this is the situation. You are following the guidance of your emotions, your internal compass, without realizing that, relative to the situation, your compass is faulty because it has been messed with over the years. Think of every emotion within you like the ice on a lake. Like ice, each emotion is covering a message of a deep personal truth, like water, underneath it. If you are unconditionally present with each emotion, you will melt through the emotion into the truth. Based on hearing the thoughts associated with that truth, you will know the why behind why you feel and why your compass is pointing you in a particular direction. You then need to use your free will to make a conscious choice and make a conscious action based on the truth. And that's what I was saying too with that throat chakra, right? What is your truth? What is your truth? So a lot of you guys really needing to reevaluate what is right for you. I do get the feeling, again, with disappointments with people in relationships and maybe getting out of situations that are not serving you anymore, right? It says time to get out of a situation. So some of you guys with this disappointment and some affairs, maybe you guys have dealt with a lot of people who've tried to make you only see their reality, right? This is wrong, this is right. And now it's like you need to figure out what's truthful and what's right and what's wrong for you. And that's what this eclipse is really highlighting for you guys. How do you feel? What do you think? And really ask yourself, is it really your truth, or is it someone else's truth that was forced down your throat? So that's kind of what is being highlighted for you guys in the month, in this month or in this time of this solar eclipse in Scorpio. So I hope that this resonated for you guys, and I hope that this helps you guys in some way. Thank you so much. Have a great and wonderful day, pile number 2. Thank you. Bye.